Footy Talk Journos edition, back together again. Danny, how's things?
It's so nice to see you, Adam. I've missed you.
What about the guy
Who?
sitting directly opposite you?
I forgot my Mortine. Is that what you use from Aussies?
Michael Chammas. Chammy, how are you, mate?
I'm a bit busy, actually.
What are you doing?
I'm scrolling through comments, some
Here we
rugby
go.
league Facebook page about rank this journalist, and it's Weidler today. So I'm just going,
yes.
I'm just going through comments and having a look. I'll screenshot them for later.
Hey,
Are we opening with that, are we?
No. We're going to tease
okay.
it, and we're going to have it at
I'm
the
actually
end.
very
So
excited.
people on this podcast are just going to go skip to the last
Can
5
you do
minutes.
that?
Oh yeah, you can.
Can you teach me how to do that?
Well, that's
so
what I
I can
did.
skip past
He
Chammy's
skips
bits.
when I talk. Yeah,
No,
exactly right.
When I was away, I just listened to the front and the back, and didn't listen to the middle when you two did it.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's true.
The front
How
of the
do
back
you
when
think
I
Chammy
was
went as a host,
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way?
You keep chipping away at it, pal, and you'll get there.
Wait, is that? I need some work. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Is that because of the
And as
accent?
a-
'Cause I'm a
No,
what?
the problem is when you're the host, you can't really answer all the questions, and you were asking questions and answering at the same time.
But that's what goes on in his head all the time
Yeah,
as
fair
well.
enough.
I have a conversation with myself in my head a lot of the time. Actually,
fair enough. How's the off-season treating you, gents? Or
Well,
it hasn't existed so
no,
far?
it doesn't. That's a question I get asked most by people.
Mm.
What do you do in the off season? We do the same as we did in the season.
Mm.
Try to find stories. It usually slows down a little bit. There's usually a scandal or two, and often you have to go on a tour as well, like follow the Aussies around or go overseas. But Chammy's not allowed to tour because every time he does, he almost doesn't come back.
Yeah, the
Well,
private
I-
health insurance doesn't cover him. So
But I actually try to work out what's happened to me on those trips, and the common denominator on those trips is that you've been there as well.
Hang on a sec.
Scumbag.
Hang on a sec.
I'm
Was I
starting to work you
he
out.
wasn't on the
Was-
kangaroo tour.
was I on the kangaroo tour where you didn't make it back?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was Emma Lawrence.
That was your worst.
I wouldn't want to know what's in her kit bag.
Yeah.
Emma Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
That was your worst effort.
Yeah. Okay.
Leave her out of it. She
So-
can't defend
So
herself.
that's another false Chammas story right there.
You were in Townsville though, Danny. You got sent
No,
up
I didn't
there.
get to Townsville.
Oh, you didn't?
I went to Airlie Beach
Oh.
with the kangaroos,
Sorry.
and
Yeah.
and
Drinking
I
pina coladas by the pool.
well, you
with
know me, I
Mel.
don't drink and I don't swim in pools either. Really.
Don't you?
I like
I
the ocean.
don't swim in pools.
I like the
either.
ocean.
What a snob!
I
What
like-
an eastern
no.
suburbs snob.
Hang on, I don't have a pool. If I had a pool, you could call me an Eastern Suburbs snob, and I was swimming in it. I like to go to the ocean,
Well, the ocean's
Salt
all right
water.
down in Bondi. You're
but not
local.
not so good there.
Not up there with the crocs.
No, and there was a croc around.
Box jellyfish.
His name's Michael, and but no box. Yeah, stingers. No, I just worked basically up there.
How was it though? Because those two, and you've been on representative tours as well. It's very much a closure. They can control what they need to, so it's very hard to kind of a yarn falls out of the sky. So
Look,
were you working your backside off, or was it pretty
look,
crazy?
you have to. Well, in TV, you have to fill a space, obviously, and we'll just at the start, we're just trying to get some yarns in the can to have ready to go out. But the obvious yarn which we couldn't get near was Val Holmes.
Mhm.
Like I requested him on day one of being there, and they just said no, Val's not going to speak because he's not playing this week. And you're in the position where you probably could go up and bounce him as he's walking to a team bus or to team training, but you're going to be off with the entire group for the rest of the trip. So you've got to, I guess, from our perspective, and you've got to just know what to go for when you're on a tour like that. And I'd assume that Val will probably have a chat. He might talk to newspapers over TV. I don't know, but if he's picked in this week's, in the next game rather,
Not playing this
yeah,
weekend.
the following week,
Yep.
then he'll. I'd imagine he'll have a chat about what went on.
Interesting point that you make. When you're on these tours, you've got to make a judgment call as to whether,
What's
especially
worth
when especially when you're actually staying in the same hotels as them, what's actually worth
Mm.
riding, because you can get in a situation where they're very. If you upset one of them, they all turn on you. in
You
terms
can be
of the players.
ostracised, is that what
Yeah,
you're
you
saying?
can be
Yeah.
ostracised. And I
Yeah.
think last year there was. I think it was the World Cup, and Reedy upset a few people. I think Reedy and we spoke to Harry Grant, and he was quite scathing. I think it was the RLPA negotiation. He might have made a comment about the amount of money they should have earned, or what they and it received plenty of backlash. And before we even wrote it, we actually said to him, like, we pulled him aside before it came out and said, mate, this is going to cause you
Bit of grief.
enormous amounts of
Yeah.
grief from the general public. You think another footballer just whinging about their salary or wanting more money. You have to make calls sometimes on these trips of whether or not it's worth upsetting players. I think last year on the World Cup, I had a decision to make around Victor Radley. I'd gone out to the Samoan team hotel
Just
this
for
was
fun, or
no. This was for fun. I got at the Samoan team hotel. It was after they'd beaten England in the semi-final at Emirates. It was awesome. We went back and they went back to somewhere outside of Manchester. And the English team, after they'd lost, went back to the same hotel and stayed there because they were based there for the camp. It was disastrous. It's where I found out, just speaking to people, that there was a scuffle involving Victor Radley at one of the local pubs that night or the night before. And I did some digging, tried to go around to the few pubs. You want to make sure you get all your information. And and I found out Victor Radley was involved in a fight with a guy named James Bentley who played for Ireland, who was in the Super League, who I later learned no one in the Super League likes this guy because all the comments were like from Englishmen saying Victor Radley's now our hero. He gets
and Victor was playing for
spot
England
for life.
Yeah,
Yeah, Victor was playing for England. Look, their tournament was over.
Yeah.
But I thought
probably
fair story. It happened. No one denied that it didn't happen. He stuck up for the coach, Sean Wayne, about something that James Bentley had said to him, and I wrote the story. I didn't count on the fact that on the way home on the plane I'd be with Victor Radley's dad and brother on the same flight. So I just sort of stuck at the back where I was.
But you didn't bag Victor.
No, I didn't bag Victor, but they wouldn't have been happy with it. But I felt as though that was a story that the World Cup, he'd been involved in a range of issues on the field, and you know what Victor Radley's like is he's someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, and in that situation he got involved in trying to protect his coach. So
I did a like a 6 week or so, might have been 8 weeks, I can't remember, tour with the Kangaroos, one of their longer ones in recent times. Must be 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I can't remember. And I was there with the better MC, Michael Carianis, and we spent a lot of time together. We travelled, like he didn't have a car, so we drove him, with me and my camo, drove him around all of England. It was fun to spend time with him. And you sort of, what each other's doing a little bit. And that was interesting. We sort of got through the tour. There wasn't a major issue that we knew of anyway. And then on the day after they played their last Test match, the morning after, we both got up early in the morning the next day and realised that Val Holmes had taken off for US football to go play NFL. Bolted. We didn't get near it. Peter Bedell in Sydney got the story. And we're sitting there in the hotel foyer going, we look like a couple of real geese. I didn't know Val was going. And we're going, what do we do?
You can't get them all. Just on Victor, he kind of blends into the next subject, eligibility. And obviously Victor chose to play for England last year at the World Cup. But are we still, like as a general fan, I'm pretty confused about who can play for who and when the decision is made concrete. Like once you play for someone, you can't play for someone else.
Well, they are playing for someone else.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'd call it a fluid situation.
Fluid.
It just seems to change a lot. We talk about this a lot too, Chammy, don't we? We talk about the eligibility, and Mal blows up about it once a year. I wouldn't want Pacific Island players or Polynesian players to be denied playing where they feel they have where their heart is. And I think it's important that I think it's actually the issue with international football is the Kangaroos are too good. And I don't mind. I know it's probably not the right thing to say, but I don't mind Australia being weakened by having players going and playing other nations.
But it weaves into Origin though. So you've got some players who can play Origin and then go and play for a Pacific Island team. But can they play for New Zealand? Well, what's the rule there? Sam Burgess never got to play Origin, for an example, or James Graham, because he was always English.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have been able to play Origin anyway, because
you have to be over 13.
Yeah,
is that right?
You have to.
It's where you play your first
game when you're 13, after you turn 13. So they wouldn't have been eligible to play. I think, and this is down on the run sheet a bit later, but I'm going to get to it now.
You're just going rogue, are you?
I am going rogue. Okay. That's what I do.
Mm.
So if you look,
is that okay?
You mentioned Origin eligibility, right?
I think I got a choice because he's the host. So
I'll carry on. Didn't you hear yourself before? You said you don't learn when you're talking. Just listen, and you'll learn something.
Wow.
So
did they say that on air or off air?
I said it off air.
Yeah. So for the listeners out there, that was an off air comment that Michael brought on.
It was an off air comment that I made after you big noted yourself talking about how you bought Larry King a coffee in LA.
Hey, look. Chammy, if he was a boxer, he'd be happy to accommodate inside the ropes, but the bell would go and then you get outside and you're lying in the gutter and you continue the fight. He'll just bring it anywhere.
Another racist comment. Okay, so
carry on.
The Origin eligibility that I've got an issue with is Michael Maguire being coach of New South Wales. No, listen, this gets to Adam point.
This is right off topic.
Michael Maguire, coach of New Zealand and New South Wales, which is being posed at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So how does Michael Maguire, who has been fantastic in actually going out and trying to convince people and recruit people to play for New Zealand based on where they're born or their family's born, it's not straightforward. Some people are eligible to play Origin, and some people can also then play for New Zealand. You can't do both.
Or
but
Samoa. Or
Yes, but this is the difference.
But you
though.
can do both.
You can do
Yeah,
both if you
yeah.
play for if you're a tier 2 nation.
Yes.
You can play Origin
yes.
and go play for a tier 2 nation, like Jerome Luai did last year and Stephen Crichton when they played for New South Wales and Samoa. But what you can't do is play Origin then go play for New Zealand because New Zealand's a tier 1 nation. So Michael Maguire, in his job as New Zealand coach, goes out there actively trying to convince kids who are eligible for both or eligible for Tonga or Samoa to pick New Zealand. How is that not a conflict of interest?
Well, instead of saying play for New South Wales?
Yes, so Michael Maguire,
Yeah.
who's he going to convince? Let's say,
So where is
throw
his
out any kid.
priority?
Isaiah Katoa,
Yeah.
Yep.
young kid at the Gold Coast at the Redcliffe Dolphins, played.
Dolphins, mate, not Redcliffe.
Sorry, he's Dolphins. Okay, we get it.
Mm.
He's eligible to play for New South Wales and he's eligible to play for New Zealand.
I'm with you here.
Michael Maguire's been trying to get him for
Yeah.
months to go and play for New Zealand.
So now does he
So
say...
what does he do now?
Yeah.
And
It's
what
a
about all the
conflict.
other kids coming
It's a
through?
genuine conflict.
I rang the New South Wales Rugby League about it and I said, do you have any issues with this conflict of interest? They blew up. It's no conflict.
That's
No
crazy.
conflict.
It
We've
could-
got no issue.
It's a
I
clear.
think
It's a clear.
they may have
conflict.
no issue, which is that's their prerogative. But to say it's not a conflict, of course it's a conflict. He's conflicted as to who he's going to tell his players or the players to go and play for.
He's recruiting for two
You
two
can't.
sets of bodies.
So if I'm the New Zealand Rugby League and you're telling Isaiah Katoa to play for Origin, I'm going to have the shits with you.
Yeah.
And if I'm the New South Wales Rugby League and you're telling Isaiah Katoa to go play New Zealand, I'll be disappointed. And I know maybe it's not a good example because right now Isaiah Katoa is a mile off from playing Origin. But there are going to be kids over time who are eligible, and this conversation is going to come up.
And you
And
know what?
Michael Maguire can't do his job in both roles to his full capacity.
And I think it's a broader issue for New South Wales Origin going forward. I mean, a lot of the players are going to make that choice, aren't they? Like, and that's going to take away some of the depth and some of the big stars in New South Wales could have.
And you know what else it does for New Zealand? Michael Maguire telling them to play for New South Wales. It means they go play for Tonga and Samoa, which means they take on New Zealand.
Chammy, I do not say this lightly, and believe me, not lightly at all. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you too.
Fist bump for the boys.
I'm not giving you one. Can we get Peter Volandis on the phone to disagree with you?
No,
let's
no,
go
leave him
back.
alone.
No,
Leave him alone.
No, leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
He's just on the
He's
Everest.
sleeping after the Everest.
He's still there, actually. He's still swinging, like humming Sweet Caroline after 45,000 went to the Everest. Jeez, it was a good day.
Did you get invited?
Yeah.
Did you get invited?
No.
Oh, good.
As if he'd go.
Well,
He
I didn't care if he went. I wanted to know if he got invited, and I didn't get an invite.
I've been invited several times, and I've got an open invitation, but I don't want to go.
Oh, now
You're missing out on life.
I don't like.
Yeah,
I'm not a punter. I don't love the races. Don't
I'm
love
with you.
lots of people.
Anyway, I'm with you on that one.
Thank you.
Totally
yeah,
agree.
you made sense.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
You should leave now. Wait, what's the problem? He
This
made
mic
sense.
drop.
He's peaked. It's all downhill now.
You've actually made sense.
Yes. And so, what do you think we should do?
Oh,
Start a
with
campaign?
Madge or hang on against Madge.
Well, no.
Well, you've already done that at the Tigers.
No, don't be
But it
silly.
points to a broader picture. The whole thing's a bit of a mess because there is going to be
It is a
time.
mess.
Sure, with the back to the players, there is going to be a time soon where Samoa and/or Tonga are going to be as good as New Zealand and Australia and England, given the influx and given the quality of player that is playing in the NRL with Tongan or
Yeah.
Samoan heritage.
Yeah, it's right.
It's a no-brainer.
But over in previous years, we played mid-season test matches. We've now eradicated mid-season test matches. So, do you think that we should just say anyone can play Origin if you're eligible, and then you go play for whatever country you want?
as long as it meets that criteria, if you've played your first footy was in Australia.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's
Sam
important,
Burgess
yeah.
can't come over and play when he
Yeah.
was 18, 20
I think
years old.
I think that would ruin Origin.
Yeah, but let's say someone like Ronaldo Mulatalo, or someone who's actually eligible to play for both. Can they play Can they play for New South Wales and go play for New Zealand? Is that the right option?
Who knows?
If it doesn't mean you play mid-season test matches, you can do both now.
But it's just so confusing. There's got to be some clarity.
Yeah, you got to stand for something, don't you?
Whatever we
Yeah.
decide, it needs to make sure that the international games are as strong as possible, and it's not just Australia versus New Zealand. Because the best thing, being at that World Cup last year and seeing Samoa do what they did, and Tonga previously, that's been the best thing for international.
I agree.
Rugby league.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you saw those scenes in Port Moresby as well on the weekend. The last couple of weeks, they froth
Yeah.
over it as well. They got the business done against Cook Islands. Australia too good for Samoa up there in the north of Australia,
It
38-12.
was pretty flat, I thought.
The whole game. It's a hard one to
Like
latch onto.
At this
given-
time of year, and I don't know, it just didn't feel like it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe Australia, New Zealand would be better.
I used to love the Kangaroo Tour, and I know it's never going to come back. But the 8 to 10 week Kangaroo Tour, last done in '94, but they played the midweekers as well.
Yeah.
You see some bloke from Wakefield Trinity try and take off the second stringer for Australia's head off in the first 5 minutes, and in the end, class tails.
There was talk of it coming back.
I don't know how they do it though, because it's the end of the Super League season as well. So
Speaking of, disappointing for Piercy. Couldn't get the chocolates to finish his career.
10-2 was it?
10-2. Catalans lost.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
One try in the game.
You would have been up by then.
No,
Yeah,
I would have been awake, but I forgot it was on.
Lunchtime for
Yeah,
him.
isn't he
4
your
a.m.
man,
kickoff.
Piercy?
I get on board with
He's a
Mitchell.
good man.
He's come back now, is he? He's done.
Done. Retired with a grand
Done.
final
Cooked.
loss, unfortunately.
What's he
Yeah.
going to do now, you reckon?
I think he'll end up at the Roosters doing something.
Yep.
Like development or get in their coaching pathway. Nick Politis will look after him, especially with the way that he exited the club when he did. That didn't sit well with a lot of people, I think, including Politis in the end, because he has a genuine love for Mitchell Pearce. So
I think people bag Mitchell Pearce, but he's in the top 10 good guys, nice guys.
He's a terrific guy.
Been had the, in terms of working with, I love Mitchell.
Well, he's
always
tainted
been
heavily by
excellent.
one major incident.
Yeah,
obviously.
which was a complete overreaction.
Oh yeah, massive overreaction, massive. But like as a person to deal with, I found Mitchell Pearce
He's
outstanding.
a
to deal with.
tremendous
He's a good
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He made some silly decisions in his career here and
course.
there, but
Who doesn't?
correct.
Apart
But
from you.
I'm sure I did too.
But Origin as well. He just became the punching bag of New South Wales, and that
Yeah,
was,
unfairly.
well, unfairly because of the team they were playing against.
Yeah.
But if I was a club team, I would have loved to have Mitchell Pearce as my halfback.
Absolutely. Well, clubs were actually still interested in him up until
Yeah,
recently.
Tigers
Your
wanted
team,
him.
the
Yeah,
Tigers,
Roosters had a
Oh,
look
yeah,
at him.
yeah. But just wait. He's got a little segment later in the show where he gets to talk about his team that he doesn't support.
I know he did propose it, didn't he?
Yeah, we'll bring that up a bit
We got
later
a
on.
private-
You've already gone off the rundown.
That's what I do as a host. I just do what I
Hang
feel.
on.
I'm teaching Adam just to go with the flow. I know you're hosting, but I'm showing him. He's listening.
Back in the
and he's
passenger
learning.
seat, pal.
Okay.
One last one before we have a little breather. Some players, I think there was about 4 of them, Selwyn Cobbo, Payne Haas, a couple of them that didn't sing the anthem for Australia. Now, obviously, things were a bit heightened on the weekend in a general political sphere sense, and it feels like this is tainted with politicism about the fact that maybe they don't sing it because they don't feel as connected. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that that's the perception. How do you feel about it?
I don't think we can tell people what to do. I mean, it's not. We can't tell people that you have to sing an anthem. I understand why people get upset by it.
Your column on a Sunday is full of suggestions for people.
Oh, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, but I mean, I can't tell Chammy to sing the anthem if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I don't.
But you can tell him it's a bad
Don't
look,
bring
though.
me into this.
I don't. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I felt that way,
Mm.
but I think that when you look at it, you sort of it's going to cause a drama. But we've done this before with Jerome and a couple others in Origin.
I think that was where they had their hands. Remember,
Was
they
it
didn't have their
Jerome? Was it-
hands
or might
around
be-
each other. They were just standing there like.
Oh, that was
standing
what it was,
there.
yeah.
That
No, there was an anthem blue.
Well, that was with
I
Latrell
think
and
that was
Cody.
Latrell and Cody, so I might
Yeah.
be wrong with Jerome,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, it's just drama about it, and the Blues didn't look good because they were standing shoulder to shoulder rather than
Yeah, a couple
hugging
of
each
Payne
other.
Haas, Jerome Luai. Mate,
Yeah.
I got no issue. And what they do in the lead up to a game, what they're thinking about, that's their decision. I'm
Can't
not-
tell those guys what to think. People want to tell them what to think.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, you can tell them, but they don't have to listen to us.
Do you sing the anthem?
I sing the American national anthem during the NBA finals. I love it
Where are you when you
Michael,
sing
why?
this?
because
Why?
it's a great anthem.
What, in the lounge room at home?
Yeah, I get goosebumps when they're all singing there. And
Do you sing the Norwegian national anthem as well?
No,
when it
because I don't
comes
watch
up?
Norwegian basketball.
Well, you're about as Norwegian as you are American.
No, he
so,
feels
I've spent-
American.
I've spent some time in America, so probably more American than Norwegian.
so what? I've spent time there.
I
as
sing
well.
the English national anthem too.
What?
What?
Oh, if it's a good anthem,
God
I'll
Save the
sing it.
King.
I haven't sang it with the King yet, actually. I've only sang it with the Queen.
Do you sing the Australian national anthem?
Yes, of course I
You
sing the
do.
Australian national anthem.
But why are you singing these other anthems?
I know they're cool. You just get.
You
it's
are an
cool.
odd creature.
I get goosebumps in that moment. You're seeing LeBron there. They're all passionate. They're
LeBron.
singing. The crowd's going nuts. Star Spangled Banner. It's a cool moment.
An anthem floozy. That's what he is. There's a stronger word for it, but I won't use it on this podcast.
You've used worse.
No, I won't use that word here. That'll get the beep from producer Sammy. Do you sing it, Danny?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I'm not passionate about it. Like I'm not. I'm not.
the greatest anthem
Okay,
in the world
I'm not in my
scale.
lounge room singing the anthem. I'm
No.
sorry.
Yeah.
No.
But when I'm
When
at a
you- yeah.
game, yeah, I'll sing along. I'm a terrible singer, so I don't sing very loud.
You just,
I just sort of mouth it and
keep
sing. Yeah,
under
if you,
there.
but
I don't sing it.
Oh.
I love listening. When I go to, for instance, a World Cup or
Yeah.
an Olympics, I love listening to it. So to me, and I'm not saying this is the case with these guys who didn't sing it,
Mm.
but that to me, like, I don't know, makes the hairs on the back of the neck stand up more so than singing it. Like listening to it and the
But people in
enormity
Australia
of it.
aren't as patriotic, or they don't get. Whenever we're at a sporting event, the anthem isn't sung by the crowd.
You
by
know
the
what?
crowd,
You
like
know what?
that's
Which
sung
one?
overseas.
Which
Rugby do it
oh,
well.
Rugby,
I
rugby
know
also.
we
like
bag rugby,
the
but
Football World Cup, they belted out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Like the World Cup semi-final, Australia-England, I've never heard an anthem sung like it, ever.
That's when an Australian team's representing. I'm saying like in an NRL grand
Sure.
final.
Yeah.
People are,
it's-
they're not as like the
No, it's not
Americans.
like
the
in
Americans,
America.
you could play the anthem on a loudspeaker in a ground, and 2 kilometres away,
Yeah,
there'd probably
yeah.
people
Yeah.
listening to it and
Yeah.
wanting to stop and sing.
So when they sing it and they get the R&B singer up and they
Yeah.
hold that last note for about 13
yeah,
minutes,
yeah.
are you doing the same
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
lounge room?
I'm holding it for as long as I can.
don't they
baby.
bet on that?
Yes, they do. The Super Bowl. They say how long is the anthem
free.
going to go,
Wow.
but it's always a plunge because they rehearse it the day before.
But it is a moment.
You can
isn't
hear it outside. The
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's something for you.
Dan Gennade taught me that one.
Okay.
Land of the- Sorry.
Gamble responsibly. Back in a sec. Guys, Josh Addo-Carr, he's had already a rather flavoursome
Mm.
off-season, given what happened at the Curry knockout, where there was a knockout that he was involved with, literally. And then he posted something that, the Middle East conflict that's going on, and he linked it to Indigenous land rights,
Mm.
which is how he felt at the
Mm.
time. But he obviously got the tap on the shoulder from someone to say he's off making
Mm.
comparisons there. So he's had a meeting with Chammy's mate, Uncle Phil Gould, Bulldogs GM. Where's it at,
Well,
Danny?
well,
What are you
well,
hearing about?
You've gone
the
too far
Foxx?
ahead. Firstly, there was a column written by Danny Weidler saying there were issues. Isn't that true?
So the Bulldogs were off the Foxx for
So I
the way
wrote a
he
piece saying that there are issues regarding Josh Addo-Carr and the Bulldogs.
his behaviour or what his output is on the field.
I think more behaviour.
If you wake up on a Sunday morning
Hmm.
and Danny Weidler's written a column and Phil Gould's at your club, start packing your bags, baby. Start packing your bags, Fox.
Well,
The Robert Plant, huh?
they had
Kiss of death. The Weidler column.
they had a meeting, and out of that meeting, basically nothing publicly came out of it. Really, did it?
I don't know, publicly. It didn't, no.
I don't like these meetings that you know they're going to happen before they happen
Yeah.
between player and.
Yeah.
Pardon me, I'm
I
getting
do it.
emotional about it. Sorry,
You hear my voice broke.
it's getting there.
Look, I'd say everything's not smooth between the Bulldogs and Addo-Carr. There was a meeting. Before that meeting, there was also another meeting that Phil Gould had organised with Peter V'landys. This was in the lead up to the Koori knockout, where he organised originally for the Foxx, the Fox's partner, Mario Tartek, his agent, to meet Peter V'landys, with the view that Josh Addo-Carr would have a future in rugby league as the face of Indigenous players and because he's so popular. His laugh is loved by all the kids.
He's proud of it.
Yeah, and so they thought. So Gus went to V'landys with that idea. Addo-Carr was unable to attend that meeting because he went to the PNG Prime Minister's 13 game, which he didn't play in, by the way. But the meeting went ahead anyway. Then about a few days later, Addo-Carr's having the knockout of the knockout, which didn't impress people.
No.
And that has led to some tension. Because I think that Gus went out of his way to organise that meeting and try and provide Addo-Carr with some direction going forward.
So they got no issues with what happened during the season in terms of his output.
Well, I don't know if his output was great
on
this
his
year.
big money, and also the leadership role that he invariably has at the Bulldogs, trying to push that joint forward.
Look, no one at the Bulldogs is happy with anything at the Bulldogs this year.
Yeah.
Let's not. We can't single out Addo-Carr in that regard. Other players didn't perform either, but that issue, and there are a couple other things in the background as well that have happened that they are unhappy about.
Like what?
I'm not going to. I might be able to talk about them at some other point. But there are other issues.
Danny, can I ask you?
So he's sick of listening.
Yeah, no, he's
No,
listening
because
for-
you're starting to dodge questions.
he's like a toddler on the mat. He
He's
can't sit still for 2 minutes. That was the 2 minutes. Here we
He's
go.
starting to dodge. Is it because
No comment.
Is it because
comment.
of his larger than life personality and these off field things that he does? Because I've been watching Beckham, watch a couple episodes, and like one thing that was clear was Sir Alex Ferguson didn't like him having
A profile.
a life or a profile outside of the team. And Josh Addo-Carr, and not for 1 minute am I comparing him to David Beckham in any way, but he has a personality and he has some things off field, which makes him. It gives him that profile. It
He
gives
just
him
started a podcast as well,
yeah,
which
with
has
Josh
gone really
Mansell,
well.
which is
Outrated
doing
us.
well. Did it?
Yeah, knock
Don't
it off,
say
Foxx.
that.
Well, yeah.
So what I'm asking you is, are there certain people that doesn't work with, and is Gus one of those guys who just likes guys to come in, play footy, concentrate on their business, and produce? Whereas someone like I don't know, if he was to end up under someone like a Benji Marshall, who's far more understanding of and been through a player where he was probably the highest profile player in the game, who had a heap of off-field opportunities and promotional activities that he was doing. Is it a matter of that Josh Addo-Carr's personality and ambition doesn't suit with where the Bulldogs are right now?
By saying that, you're contradicting to what Gus actually did in trying to give him another off-field opportunity and make him the face of Indigenous football.
Yeah.
So that I don't think that's the issue.
Okay, but what about the other stuff?
But
It wasn't
look,
ambassador
in terms of all of
singing, music clips and.
But I think they get that with the Foxx, and I think it's encouraged. I don't think that's the major issue.
Okay.
I think there are other issues that they're concerned about, and maybe I don't know which way it's going to go. At the moment, it appears that they're trying to work together. Whether how it ends up, I don't know.
Is that Gus calling you right now?
Can you pick up?
Can you get your microphone open on your phone?
No, can't name it.
No.
Can't
We should have a truce here. If your phone rings in the middle of this podcast, you should have to read out who rings you.
Oh,
how's
really?
that-
Hang on.
how's that
Someone rang you
well,
last week when we
how's
were
that a
talking
truce?
It's
about
not
the
really a
person.
truce, is it? That's the wrong word.
No,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We should have a pact here.
Careful what you wish for, my feathered friend.
Why?
He doesn't think about things he says.
Because
does he?
last
rang me-
week-
Oh yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. You can name him a week after now.
Lee Hadjipentelis, as we were talking about him, called him. And he went, no, don't. He
You had another crack at Lee on the weekend in your column.
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, dear. Fantastic. So how's it going to end? Is he going to run out with the number 5 on his back in round 1 next season?
I can't tell you at this point. I don't. Without they had that meeting, and they're saying everything's on track. But look, if I wouldn't be if a club came to the Bulldogs and said, we'll buy him out, they may consider it. But
I
I'm
reckon that was
speaking.
the conversation without.
You don't think it was?
I'm on annual. I haven't made a lot of calls around it, but I reckon the conversation is let's pretend we're one happy family. Let's have a nice conversation, but mate, just know that if you got something else out there, the door's
You
open.
reckon it's a wink and a
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, now for our weekly segments, and we dip into Tigerland. Here's Tiger Mick, all thanks to Wes Ashfield. What's happening there?
What's that report called? They're doing
I don't know. The Chammy report.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know? We're talking about
Alex Twal. What happened there?
Yeah, what happened? Well, we know that he was given permission to look around.
Yeah.
He looked around. The Dogs were one of the clubs. I think they were willing to go 3 years. No formal offers tabled. Manly looked at him. I think they were willing to offer him 4 years. But they both wanted the Tigers to chip in part of his salary. So next year he's on $525. And I think they wanted to pay around $400. They wouldn't have paid more than 4 of the clubs that were there. So the Tigers then had a meeting and decided, well, we don't want to chip in for him. He can stay and we'll extend his deal. Now, it sounds as though the Tigers are backflipped and they're what the hell's going on at the club. But I made some calls to see what actually had transpired. And Alex Twal went to them, or his management went to them, with a year to go on his contract and said, we think Alex is worth this much and we should get an extension. Now, the Tigers felt, well, we do have love for Alex and he's got a place at our club, but we don't think he's worth this much to us. So if you feel that you can get that elsewhere, go out, have a look, and let us know. Now, they weren't able to get the offers north of 500, and they went back to the Tigers and asked them to chip in to help him go somewhere else. And the Tigers said, well, no, not going to chip in, but what we will do is what you're going to get elsewhere, we'll give you that extension, which it hasn't got a 5 in front of it, from what I'm led to believe. So he has got an extension at the club. It just wasn't at the price that they wanted originally. And I think that's well done to the Tigers, because instead of accepting that deal, they said to Alex, well, mate, if you can get that elsewhere, let us know. But unfortunately for Alex, he wasn't able to. And I think in the end, the right things happened. Alex Twal, I'd love to see him finish his career at the Tigers. He's
Now,
a cult hero.
you're a lot closer to the Tigers than I am. I thought he was going to the Bulldogs. I thought, in fact, that he'd agreed to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think it was very close. I think
agree.
there were people at the there were people at the Bulldogs who were under the impression that he was coming. And when I made the calls, I said he was going to the Dogs. 24 hours earlier, that was the impression. Then there was
that was a strong impression.
Then there was a recruitment meeting. Said we're not going to let him go. Which
at the
is
Tigers.
At the Tigers. And they decided, no, we'll keep him and we'll give him an extension. That was because they wouldn't chip in.
That was the weekly segment, Talk of Tiger Town with Tiger Mick, thanks to Wes Ashfield.
Hang on a second. What about him?
Sponsored
He was under the impression there was an agreement. How come he doesn't get a
sponsored by Lee Hatchman-Tellis.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bryden's Lawyers. Is that what they're called? Bryden's?
Bryden's, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go inside the kennel with Danny Weidler next week. Thanks to the Oasis out there at Billboard.
We had that whole segment just before, didn't we?
Exactly.
At least I've got an actual proper third party with Bryden's Lawyers. You're just working for 9 with Gus. That's internal payment.
Hey, is Jerome Luai got a manager yet?
What's today? Yeah,
it's probably a Twitter handle that. Has Jerome got for all you journos to find out?
There was a meeting on Friday with Penrith, Ivan Cleary.
Had to go.
Matt Cameron. Yeah, I think it went well. I think it was just an official. We reported a couple of months ago, or about 6 weeks ago, that they won't go past. Well, they're not in a position to go past 800, and they can't get in a bidding war. So if it's money, that is his ambition, that is his driving force, then go and have a look. So they had a meeting and said to him basically the same thing. This is where we're at cap wise. If you get a manager, you want to look around. Hope you know the implications of what that means. You get a manager, you're paying a certain percentage that you won't get a hold of. I don't think Jerome led one way or another what he was going to do, if he was going to have a manager or not. But he's well aware, and it's now triggered over. October 15 was the date he can actually appoint a manager. There was a 3-month period there where he couldn't because he terminated his old management
with SFX.
With George Mimas there, and under that agreement, he had to wait 3 months before he gets another manager. So he now can get another manager. He hasn't done a deal with Penrith. November 1 is 2 weeks away.
All the talk's been black money from the start.
Yeah, which is
Latrell,
Ulrich Wright,
Latrell's manager.
Yeah,
Jack Whiten's manager.
Yeah,
Cody's manager. Yeah.
But I think Bradman Best
is
well.
joining them as well. Yeah,
so
quite a powerful group.
It is.
Now, gents, last but very much not least, take us back to social media.
This is the team.
Yes.
Look, have you ever seen him as happy?
Rate the journos. Oh, wait until his
I've got to
mug
say,
pops up.
He won't be here that week.
They won't put me up, mate. I'm
Yeah,
not at that level.
Hang on. You're definitely at that level.
There's a top 10 journos, and there's only about 10 rugby league journos.
There's a lot about that. Don't be disrespectful to everyone, okay?
So they had Carianis up there, didn't they?
He did well, very, very well.
He did
very well.
He's a highly
I
respected
think he did
individual.
better than you, to be honest, Danny.
Well, that's not hard.
Is that surprising?
Why do people hate you? Look, I'm going to admit, when I first got into this game, I did think you were a bit arrogant. I'll double down though, because no, I don't know how to say this to him. To be fair to him, I used to watch him as a kid on the Footy show, interviewing people, doing mundane stuff, who I loved as a kid, as a Dragons fan. I thought, how cool is this job that he has? And he inspired me to get to where I am today.
Wow. I'll take that. Can you end it there? Is that enough?
No, that's true. Because I used to watch it and think, how cool is this? I want to do this one day. Like
it was about a 3-year stretch there where I knew more about Anthony Mundine and Sonny Bill Williams than I reckon Anthony Mundine and Sonny Bill Williams knew about themselves just by reading his article.
Well, that's right.
He was like, that was the most fertile ground for this man.
And I was like, how cool this guy's be able to develop a trust and relationship with these people to be able to tell their story the way he has. And it did. And it was an inspiration for me as a kid. No, you're not pissing in your pocket.
Now... And then you said
then I got into the industry.
And then you meet your heroes.
Well, I didn't really meet him. I was a bit shy, and because he just kept to himself. And my impression was, this guy thinks he's better than everyone.
Yeah, no. It's because he's been up since 2 a.m. That's why.
Yeah.
He can barely stay awake. He didn't want to talk to anyone.
It took me a while to realize that this guy is actually, it's not out of arrogance. He actually is an introvert. And he keeps to himself. And it wasn't because he thought he was better than everyone else. He's actually a different cat. And
he's shy.
I think you're misunderstood, Danny. I think people think that because you're on, you like to get your head in the shot and you're on 2 cameras, that it's all about you. But that's the impression you get watching it.
Old 2-shot
which are a lot of the comments. But it's not the real Danny Weidler.
No, it's because he doesn't like doing stand-ups because he hates talking to a camera down the barrel, which is a rather important part of being a television journalist.
I do it if I have to.
Yes.
So.
Oh, here we go.
I thought I was looking through some of the comments, and I think some of them are harsh. Some of them are harsh. Some of them are fair. Yeah. What?
So what is it? It's on Instagram and Facebook?
You're going to give this Instagram and Facebook a lot of listeners or viewers.
Yeah, may as well. Yeah.
What are they
It's a
called?
bit of a laugh.
Biggest shit-talking, troublemaking, argumentative, know-it-all in the business.
Wow.
We haven't discovered a number so low to rate this piece of
out of
So
10.
it's
fermented
rate the
toe
journo.
jam.
1 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Toe jam. Oh, wow.
Fermented toe
1
jam.
out. What fermented? 1 out of 10. 1 being the lowest, not the Fletch
There's
thing.
a lot
So
of
it's 1 out
minuses
of
in
10.
here. There's
Well,
one out
I
of
don't
10.
even register.
Yeah.
Is there any good ones? Oh, actually,
No, you can
there-
go with the
there's
bad.
actually-
It's
there
fine.
are some ones on there
Go with
about
the bad.
how actually impressive you were on James Graham's podcast.
Oh, that's nice of
Mhm.
Yeah.
that person.
There was one here about I wouldn't trust.
Angus from Belmore put that one through.
Saying about it doesn't get this criticism a lot. People
Mm.
who bag us, they say, "Oh, this guy would never have laced on a boot before.
Mm-mm.
Never listen to a word he says."
Well, that's not the point.
Mm.
So,
Well, have you laced the boot before? Have you played?
I only
footy?
played rugby. I played rugby at school.
oh,
did
you
you?
toff.
Yeah. Well, I went to Sydney High, which was in the GPS comp and
Okay.
CHS comp. We didn't play league there.
Surprised you didn't end
Sort
up
of
a
would- you gotta
stockbroker,
play
Danny.
league. Got to play league. So I don't have respect for Danny because he didn't play league.
I was in a couple of years below ScoMo, actually.
Oh, well, yeah.
Couple of years
Yeah.
below.
Was he a Sharks fan?
Don't remember, mate.
Oddly
I
enough.
didn't really know him.
No.
Did you play league?
Played 1 season and then worked out real quick. It wasn't the sport for a little skinny
What's wrong
bloke
with
from
you
the
guys?
Northern
Jamie, you?
Beaches.
Yeah, I played from when I was 4 till 24. So I
Wow.
did 21 seasons. Yeah.
Played a lot of touch footy, but it didn't.
That
That doesn't count.
Oh, sorry for our touch fans.
However, I will say,
Just
I play touch footy now because look at me. But growing up in Western Sydney in the Parramatta district, when I,
well, the top 2 in the Dally M this year are touch players, born and bred.
Yep.
Sean Johnson,
Yep.
Kalen Ponga.
Mm.
Yep.
You'd have him in your team with Benji and the co. But sorry, we
did
we
you move?
divert.
Did you move like them?
No, I didn't. No,
I
didn't.
moved like them on the rugby league field, trying to move away.
Yeah,
from
get out of the
people.
way.
Yeah, that's about it.
Get out of the way. So this
You didn't-
it's
yeah, you
going
didn't-
through 1 to 10. Is it all the journos or
I think
Who have they done so
I've
far?
Have you
done
commented?
Carianas.
Did you comment on there?
Not with my real account, with
No.
some burner accounts. The one I just read to you before was my burner account.
Do you have a
But-
burner account?
No, mate.
Are you sure?
As soon as footy season
as
ends,
if he'd admitted if he did?
Well,
as
some
soon as
journos
footy
been
season
found out
ends, I
having them.
delete the Twitter app or the X
Yeah,
app.
you do. I give you that. Yeah.
I do.
yeah.
I just
No Twitter?
I've
You're
got
off?
no interest.
Nah.
If I didn't work in this game, I wouldn't have. I don't use Instagram. I have one which I used years ago, but it's private. I don't even post anymore.
Mm.
I put one
Facebook,
up
I
on
don't
Saturday
do it.
night about the referendum, which I was disappointed about, but it's
You're
the,
that guy.
Oh.
That
that's the
posts all
democratic processes thing. And geez, did I get
Really?
hammered by some blue ticks with 100 followers?
time. Really?
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah, see,
Anyway.
I just don't get into that world. I just don't get into that world.
It's the way
I
it
don't
is.
think you do either.
No, I do a little bit of family stuff on Instagram.
family stuff, yeah.
I've got a 9 account which I follow footballers on, but I don't. I'm not
That's
that
your stalker
interested.
account,
I'm too old for that.
So who's next? Like, so Carianis and Weidler have been.
I think the Crawls, Paul Crawley. I think the Moles. Them going through it here. Dean Ritchie.
Yeah.
So I think they've done 4 or 5 already.
Rothfield's coming, isn't he?
I imagine they're saving the big guns.
I think
for the
you
end.
and
sorry, they went.
you and Buzz will
Hey.
cop similar ratings.
To be fair though, in terms of news breaking in this game, it's Buzz and Weidler.
Now, hang on, you're selling yourself
No,
short, mate.
it's Buzz and Weidler.
He likes to feature.
And
his
if
stuff.
in terms of like features and columns, I think Andrew Webster's first and then daylight.
This
So
is the
I
most
think-
humble I've ever heard him. This is not you.
No,
No.
because you got to put on a facade. You know that. You were with Mundine for years.
Facade.
You were with Mundine
he's,
for
he's
years.
moving away from this into a more hosting role. like
yes.
Is that
leadership
fair,
role.
Adam, or not?
What?
Like what I just said, Buzz and Weidler, and then you got with the columns and the insight and features. I
We've
think
just
Andrew
been
Webster's
around a
number
long
one.
time, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just been around for a long time.
People wouldn't understand. A lot of people wouldn't understand the actual depth of what you do. They just see your head. They think they like you, don't like you, and they hate
that's
it,
their right. That's
that's
their
their right.
absolute right. And then I get shit canned everywhere for that,
I
and
know.
I still do it.
You cop
But-
any in the street?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Or if I go out to a pub,
Mm.
it's either love or hate. You know, no in
Yeah, but
between.
people go up to you, take photos with you, and that. I've been there. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that, Chammy.
Why?
It's
See,
embarrassing.
Introvert. Are you not taking photos with people? Are you like literally?
Well, I'm going up to people and saying, "Can I have your photo?"
No, all interesting
Do you want a
stuff. and
photo
look,
with me?
I cannot wait. I'm
I'm
going to DM these people and go put Chammas into this and get him up there so we can talk about it next week. That's Footy Talk this week, gents. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Adam. It was so good to have a professional host back.
I'll be in the Central Coast.
Oh,
See
you're
you
brushing us.
No, I'm going to have some time off this week. I'll be back next Monday.
Excellent. Look forward to it.